harsh treatment, but you are being kind to the person. Option A, disrespected. B, contempt. C, vengeance. And D, kindness. The answer to this is vengeance, and that is the opposite of mercy. So option C is the final answer. Question 55. His wife hates his garrulous attitude. The underlined expression is garrulous, and it means tending to talk a lot or very talkative. Options: A, outspoken. B, unfriendly. C, reticent. And D, thoughtful. Here we have reticent as the answer, and reticent means not willing to talk about things with people. So option C is the answer. Question 56. Agoshito is a callow youth, said the teacher. The underlined expression is callow. Callow is used to describe a young person who does not have much experience and does not know how to behave the way adults behave. So this is an inexperienced person. Option A, ignorant. B, unexperienced. C, an idea. And D, unorganized. Here we have experienced as the opposite of callow. So option B is the final answer. Question 57. What you are asking me to do is a Herculean task. Herculean is the underlined expression, and it means extraordinary power, extent, and the intensity or difficulty. So to the options: A, strenuous. B, demanding. C, lovely. And D, uneasy. So among the options, since we have understood the fact that callow means something difficult, intense, and demanding extraordinary power, the opposite would be something that is easy and requesting or requiring not much power. So option D is the final answer. Question 58. Nkechi was a novice when she was first employed. Novice is the underlined expression, and novice means a person who has just started learning or doing something. Options: A, manager. B, clerk. C, supervisor. D, professional. And the answer is professional, because a professional would not just be starting something. The professional must have known the in and out of everything entailed in a particular job. But a novice would be new and would have to be taken through certain things. So option D is the final answer. Question 59. I do not trust him, he said in a rare moment of candor. Candor is the underlined expression, and candor means the quality of being open, sincere, and honest. So a moment of candor in this context would mean a moment of dishonesty, and that is the opposite of candor in this expression. Question 60. Mrs. Akunilo looks anemic today. The underlined expression is anemic, and anemic means lacking force, vitality, or spirit. That means the person is weak. So option A, strange. B, sick. C, weak. And D, strong. So since we have said anemic has to do with lacking force, vitality, or spirit, then it is the opposite in meaning will be strong, and that is option D. Question 61. It is inconceivable that the sun shone in night. The underlined expression is inconceivable, and inconceivable means impossible to imagine or believe. The opposite in meaning to this is credible. Unthinkable, impossible, and contestable are synonymous to inconceivable, while credible is the opposite of inconceivable. So our final answer is option A. Question 62. She only gives a superficial impression of warmth and friendliness. The underlined expression is superficial. Superficial means concerned only with what is obvious or apparent and not what is thorough or complete. So superficial deals with surface, and the options are A, strong. B, fake. C, deep. And D, unrealistic. The answer to this is deep, because superficial has to do with surface. So option C is the final answer. Question 63. As a prudent businessman, Adayi does not leave anything to chance. The underlined expression is prudent, and prudent means having or showing careful good judgment. Options: frugal, B, should, C, careless, and D, unsuccessful. Should and frugal are synonymous to prudent, while unsuccessful is far from these two. So we have a careless as the final answer, which is the opposite of prudent, option C. Question 64. Is antipathy affected the growth of his business? Is antipathy affected the growth of his business? The underlined expression is antipathy. And antipathy means a strong feeling of dislike. Option A, hatred, B, deceptiveness, C, loyalty, and D, hostility. The meaning of antipathy could be realized in hatred, deceptiveness, and hostility, while loyalty is opposite in meaning to antipathy. So we have option C as our final answer. Question 65. Okonkwo's little right foot did the magic of the football match. The underlined expression is little, and the little means causing or able to cause death. Causing or able to cause death. Options: A, weak, B, wicked, C, fat, D, harmless. The answer to this is harmless, because anything that is little is harmful. So the opposite of harmful is harmless. So we have option D as the final answer. 2010 UTME Use of English questions. Instruction. In each of questions 51 to 65, choose the option nearest in meaning to the word or phrase. Question 51. A political impasse does not offer the best opportunity for merrymaking. The underlined word is impasse, and the impasse means a situation in which no progress seems possible. Options: A, manifesto, B, party, C, gridlock, and D, rally. Rally, party, manifesto are not close to the meaning of impasse. So we have a gridlock as the answer, and gridlock means a situation that shows no sign of progress. So our final answer is option C. Question 52. We are all enthusiastic as we awaited the result of the election. Enthusiastic is the underlined expression, and enthusiastic means feeling or showing strong excitement about something. Option A, bemused, B, agitated, C, elated, and D, nervous. The answer to this is elated, because elated has to do with a feeling of happiness and excitement. Question 53. The uniform makes the guard look absurd. Absurd is the underlined expression. Absurd means extremely silly, foolish, or unreasonable. Options: A, dirty, B, smart, C, sensible, and D, ridiculous. The synonym to the nearest meaning to dirty, to absurd in this context is ridiculous, and that is option D. Question 54. The law is often tardy in reacting to changing attitude. The underlined expression is tardy, and tardy means slow in moving, acting, or happening. Slow in moving, acting, or happening. So the options: A, quick. Quick is the opposite of tardy. B, slow, C, exclusive, and D, generous. Exclusive and generous are not close to tardy, while slow is nearest in meaning to tardy. Option B. Question 55. Isa and Ilu ate sumptuous meal on their brother's wedding day. Sumptuous is the underlined expression, and sumptuous means very expensive, rich, and impressive. So we have option A, expensive, B, foreign, C, insipid, and D, cheap. The answer is expensive. Question 56. Kaltume crouched over the papers on her desk. Crouched is the underlined expression, and crouch means to bend or lower your body. So option A, wrote on, B, stood on, C, walked over, and D, bent over. The answer to this is bend over. Question 57. The panacea for a country's economic mess lies in its systematic planning and hard work. The underlined word is panacea, and panacea means something that will make everything about a situation better. Options: A, cure, B, hope, C, foresight, and D, trouble. The answer to this is cure, and that is option A. Question 58. Thousands of workers have been victims of retrenchment since the military came back to power. The underlined expression is retrenchment, and retrenchment has to do with changing the way things are done in order to spend less money. According to what we have here in the passage, in the sentence, it means laying people off and thereby causing unemployment. So option A, unemployment, B, trench mentality, C, suffering, and D, increase in penury. The answer to this is unemployment. Question 59. The principal gave his speech offhand at the sports meeting. The underlined expression is offhand. Offhand means done without previous thought or preparation. So option A, calmly, B, beautifully, C, unconcerned, and D, unprepared. The answer to this is unprepared. Question 60. Jankoli was dressed in an old assortment of clothes. Assortment is the underlined expression, and assortment means a group or collection of different things or people. And here that means the person is dressed in old clothes that are of different shades or different materials. So we have option A, avalanche, option B, homogeneity, C, sameness, and D, melange. Avalanche means a sudden amount of something. This is not close to the meaning. Homogeneity is not also close to it. Sameness is opposite in meaning to it, while melange is synonymous to assortment. So we have option D as the answer to question 60. Question 61. The girl's father was astounded to see her appear from the shrine. The underlined expression is astounded. Astound means to cause a feeling of great surprise. Options: A, collected, B, overwhelmed, C, embarrassed, and D, astonished. The answer to this is astonished. Astonished is nearest in meaning to astonished. Question 62. The director's remark was extremely opposite to the issue being discussed. Opposite is the underlined expression, and it means very appropriate or suitable for the occasion or situation. So we have option A, appropriate, B, inconsequential, C, emphatic, and D, adequate. The answer is appropriate because it has to do with appropriateness and suitability. Question 63. Our reputation is without a blemish. The underlined expression is blemish, and blemish has to do with a mark that makes something imperfect or less beautiful. Options: A, struggle, B, problem, C, fault, and D, blessing. The answer to this is fault. Fault is close in meaning to blemish. Question 64. Ugo is eligible for the post of secretary. Eligible is the underlined expression, and eligible means able to be chosen for something, able to do something, or receive something. It has to do with qualification, or being qualified. Options: A, nominated, B, invited, C, qualified, and D, intelligent. The answer to this is qualified. Question 65. This is an abridged version of no longer at ease. The underlined expression is abridged. Abridged means to lessen the length of something or to reduce the effect of something. So, options: A, an outdated, B, an enlarged, C, an illustrated, and D, a shortened. The answer to this is a shortened. So, option D is the answer to question 65.